Hey everybody, this is Jim at SP500chart.com. It's a little after 5 o'clock on August 8th, 2013, and we're going to look at the S&P 500 chart, but I got to read this to you first. And that is that the website and the video are for educational purposes only, and nothing stated at the side or in the video is intended to be used as investment advice. I can draw lines on charts, but you have to draw your own conclusions from your own research and make investment decisions that are suitable for your personal financial situation. I'm not a licensed financial professional. I'm just a guy who draws lines on charts. With that out of the way, here we go. Starting out on a 10-minute chart. So a few interesting things happened today. The day did not unfold exactly as I thought it would, but let's be frank, when's the last time one did lately? There haven't been many, because we've just kind of been seeing some movements all around, sort of bouncing off lines, taking lines out, then getting back, and it's just been kind of an interesting situation. Now, one thing I'll point out, I don't think I pointed this out before, is that this whole 3-day period that took place August 1st, 2nd, and 5th took place over the top of a rising trend line that used to serve as resistance. And what have we talked about before? You can't always count on those to hold up. Maybe I should have been a little bit more honed in on that idea coming into this week, but it is still true. And I know we've stated that here before, that when you break a rising resistance line, which this was for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, this was resistance, broke out, but then it gave it right back up. Then we came down and looked like we wanted to bounce on this support line here, but then broke it. And now it looks like the S&P is toying, it appears, maybe, I can't be certain, but it looks like we may be toying with the idea of getting back over 1700. What happened today was basically this. We had spotted what appeared to be a kind of a descending channel here, with this is the support line and this is resistance. What I thought might happen today is that we would work our way out into this little rising flag here. This would be a bear flag. And then I thought that would break and we would come down maybe to the low 1680s, then come back up. Instead, we got a strong move right out of the gate. I mean, not hugely strong, but a quick 8.5, 9 point move to the upside to, everybody, what level? 1700. And then 1700 turned the S&P back, came down to back test this descending resistance line that is now broken. And by the way, it broke by an amount that didn't quite meet technical standards, but the fact that it got up and really bounded up out of this and then came back for the back test and now is heading back up, I think that's significant. And the other thing is the distance that we are now from this line is right at, almost at that, not quite, but very close to that 1% margin. So this is what I'm thinking now going forward. I'm going to make a small adjustment here. We're going to move this line now to a little bit closer to 1700. And here's the deal. Because we were over this rising channel for 3 days, and now we spent 2 days under it, I'm wondering, this is kind of hard for me to put into words, but I'm almost wondering if the 2 days that we spent under this channel is there to serve the function of giving these buyers who bought up here Well, let me take that back. Think of it like a pendulum. Maybe, this is just hypothetical, maybe the pendulum swung too high for 3 days and now it has to swing low for a couple of days. I'm open to that idea. So, if tomorrow we get over 1700, then I would expect us to behave as if we are still in this orange channel. And you can see this orange channel, it really wasn't working for that many days. We have a starting point kind of back here, back on the 10th of July, and then that runs up and we had a couple of touches. And you might also notice that one person mentioned that this whole thing, if we look at these bottoms and this top, the whole thing looks a little wedge-y, which means we may be near an intermediate top. But gosh, it's just really there's nothing really clear in this chart. There's so many lines, there's so many trend lines, there's so many interpretations. All I can tell you is this. It looks like these 3 days were something of an anomaly. For whatever reason, we were up over this 1700 line. I mentioned to you we never got that right shoulder on what looked like would be an inverted head and shoulders pattern. And it just kind of looks to me and feels to me as if the market is just saying, ho, let's get a do-over here. Let's erase this 3 days. Let's spend as much time over this top line, as much time as we spent over this line. Let's now spend some time underneath it. And going forward, I'm thinking if we get over this 1700 line again, maybe this is our right shoulder, just put off a bit. Because getting over this line right here seems to be a fairly, typically this would be a fairly bullish occurrence. So, going into tomorrow, I'm wondering if this might act as a little, just a sideways flag just underneath resistance, and if we get a little push tomorrow, will we head back up? And if we do, we got a little bit more room now to run and still stay underneath this line, which really maybe if in a perfect world we never should have gotten over that line back here. Instead, we should have spent a little bit more time under it so that we could, you remember what I said, I think it was yesterday, is that you need to get that nicely formed pattern, because that second, or rather that third dip that is the right shoulder of an inverted head and shoulders pattern, it serves a function. It's not just there for symmetry. It's there because it tells part of the story of what's going on in the markets. And we didn't get that. Instead, we got what looks to be a premature move over 1700. The next move over 1700, and in capital letters, if. But if we get that next move, I believe that move should be the one that takes us up to the 1720s. Right now, a bear might look at this and say, well, we didn't get back over the top of this line, so we closed the day at resistance. True. But we also bounded off of support on this line right here when we back tested it. Additionally, I think we've got pretty good support down here in the low 1680s. Now, if this gives right here, then I think we're going to see some more serious selling. But until this gives, I think really the chart tells the story, and that is we came up and now we're going sideways. And I still don't think we have anything that tells us in strong terms that we are going to see a significant downturn at this point. If we do, again with the breaking of this 1680 line right here, then I think we got a good chance of support in the 1650s. And then if that gives, then I think we've got a very good chance of a good bounce down around 1600. But right now, it's looking like this may have just been a couple days to take back what maybe should not have happened quite yet back on the 1st, 2nd, and 5th. And it's just interesting if any of you guys know a lot about geometry. When I see things like this, sometimes I ask myself, I wonder, this is just thinking out loud, and it's not tested in true technical analysis by any means. But I wonder sometimes if you could calculate the area underneath this price action that took place over the top of this line, how it might compare to the area that takes place underneath this line but above the price action for the past couple of days. Does that make sense? We know that distances often play out. But if you look at the time spent and the distance spent over this line, I wonder how it compares with the time and the distance spent under this line right here. Finally, I just want to say that if we do get a move over a 1700 again, it looks like we may have formed a little inverted head and shoulders right here, which if that is the case, it's probably good to take the S&P up to about 1714. Just eyeballing it. Well, heck, let me measure it. We'll measure the depth of this little move underneath 1700. Call it 1714. So if we get up over this line of resistance tomorrow, and it wouldn't surprise me if we did, then that should be setting up a move to 1714. And by the way, if that happens all at once, then that would be kind of getting back up to this resistance line again. So I would expect some sideways action, sideways to down, whenever we tag this line up here. So there's your video for August 8th, 2013. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. And again, I'm crossing my fingers here because this has been a little bit of a tough nut to crack for the past couple of weeks. Really hoping that I didn't put my foot in my mouth today. Let's see. You know, today was fairly close to what I'd envisioned, and nothing really. I thought whenever we came down to tag that broken line that we probably would rally off of it. I just kind of thought it would happen a bit lower. So let's see what happens tomorrow. Then we'll do our weekend video, and we'll hopefully have a little bit more information to take us forward into next week. Thanks again. Take care.